Chloe, thank you so much for coming with me to the medical center today. You have to accept this red envelope. It's just a little something to show my gratitude. The moment we stepped out of the clinic, my roommate Maria quickly pushed a red envelope into my hand. Before I could even say anything, Maria waved and said, I have some things to take care of at home, so I can't walk back with you. With that, she jumped into a taxi and was gone. I stood there looking at the red envelope she'd given me, feeling a mix of annoyance and amusement. My father is an expert in spiritual matters, well known in our region, and I've learned a great deal from him over the years. I recognized what this was immediately: a red envelope containing money meant to buy my life force. To be certain, I looked at the envelope more closely. Just as I suspected, in the bottom right corner on the back, written in tiny, faint red letters, were Maria's exact date and time of birth. The ink was so pale and the writing so small that if I hadn't been specifically looking for it, I would have easily missed it. I was left completely shocked. Maria had become pregnant by accident, and the moment her boyfriend found out, he disappeared completely. She was too scared to tell her parents and had begged me for a long time in our dorm room before I finally gave in and agreed to go with her to the clinic for an abortion. The girl must have been worried about feeling weak after the surgery, afraid it would affect her performance on her final exams and cause her to lose her academic scholarship. That's why she resorted to this awful plan of stealing my life energy to help speed up her own recovery. I couldn't believe it. I was kind enough to support you at the clinic, and in return, you tried to steal my life force? And if you're going to do something so dark, at least use a decent amount of money. Just $200? Who did she think she was tricking? A ghost? I laughed to myself. After all, I'm the daughter of a spiritual master. If you're going to try to play games with me, you've definitely picked the wrong person. Without even thinking twice, I hailed a cab and went directly to the closest cemetery. This cursed money doesn't just drain the life of the person it's given to. For the curse to work, the person whose life is being bought has to be the one to spend the money. I spent the whole afternoon walking through the cemetery until it was completely dark. Finally, I crouched in front of a particular grave. I had mentally reviewed the history of everyone buried there. The man in this grave was an infamous, creepy old ghost who was still being punished in the 18th level of the underworld for all the terrible things he did when he was alive, making it impossible for him to be reincarnated. He was the perfect candidate. I took out the red envelope, lit it on fire with a lighter, and whispered Maria's date and time of birth. Hey, buddy, I mumbled. You probably don't know my friend, but she's had a huge crush on you since she was a little girl. You wouldn't believe how many times she cried herself sick after you passed away. So today she asked me to burn this money for you. It's only $200, but it's the thought that matters. Spend it well, and if you need anything else, just go ask her for it. Once the red envelope had turned to ash, I stood up, dusted myself off, and walked back to the university. Mission accomplished. The minute I walked into our dorm room, Maria ran up to me excitedly. Chloe, did you spend the money from the red envelope? I nodded my head over and over. Yep, I spent all of it. Thanks a lot. Hearing this, a huge smile spread across Maria's face. That's wonderful. It was the least I could do since you went with me to the clinic. With that, she hopped into her bed. I gave her a knowing look. Friend, your good times are just getting started. Maybe because she was so happy, or maybe because her body was weak from the abortion, Maria started snoring very quickly. I, on the other hand, couldn't get to sleep and just lay in bed scrolling on my phone. A little after midnight, a sudden coldness swept through the room. I shivered. The locked door to our dorm room slowly creaked open, and a skinny man silently appeared in the doorway. The man sniffed the air, let out a bizarre laugh, and climbed directly into Maria's bed. The next morning, Maria was late waking up. Seeing we were about to miss our class, I tapped on her bed frame, and she finally woke up with a jolt. Oh, what time is it? Did my alarm not work? I shrugged my shoulders, acting innocent. It worked just fine. It was ringing for a long time. I assumed you heard it. Maria climbed out of bed looking completely drained. I'm so exhausted. Why did I sleep so deeply today? I pretended not to know. You just had a serious medical procedure yesterday. You must be very weak. Maybe you should skip your classes for a few days and just rest here. But Maria looked confused and mumbled to herself, That can't be right. I already bought a life. Then she looked at me. Chloe, are you positive you spent all the money from that red envelope yesterday? I nodded seriously. Yes, I spent every penny. Why are you asking? If you need money, I can lend you some. Maria quickly waved her hands. No, it's fine. I still need to go to class. Finals are coming up and I can't afford to miss a single lecture. Maria's grades had always been top notch. She had been the #1 student in our department since our first year, although I had never once seen her actually study. All through our morning classes, Maria was not herself. She kept her head down and looked like she was about to doze off at any moment. When we returned to the dorm at lunchtime, Maria looked at her schedule and let out a sigh of relief. It's a huge lecture this afternoon, so I'm not going. That professor never checks who is there. I really need to get some sleep. But as luck would have it, that afternoon the professor decided, for the first time ever, to call on students to answer questions. Out of more than 300 students, he called on Maria. When the professor realized Maria wasn't there, he said angrily, This is the only time I've called on anyone all semester, and I catch you skipping. All your participation points are gone. When Maria heard about this, she rushed to the professor's office to beg for another chance, but came back a while later with a long, sad face. It's ruined. It's all ruined. That professor is known for being incredibly tough. I'm going to fail this class. Seeing Maria so sad and disappointed, I also felt a little curious and quietly did another spiritual check on that ghost. The answer I got was a surprise. Wow, that ghost wasn't just a creep. He was also a jinx, a magnet for bad luck. This was becoming more and more entertaining. With a jinx attached to her, Maria was probably going to have a long streak of misfortune. For several nights in a row, the jinx ghost appeared right on schedule after midnight and climbed into Maria's bed. And Maria's health got worse and worse. Her face was pale, she had no energy, and she would get out of breath from just walking a few steps. Finally, Maria couldn't handle it anymore and came to confront me again. Chloe, tell me the truth. Did you spend that money or not? I replied, looking helpless. Friend, I really did spend it. What is going on with you? But Maria kept pushing. How did you spend it? Tell me everything. I put on an innocent expression. I burned it as an offering for my ex-boyfriend. Sigh, my ex died in a really awful way. He was secretly dating more than a dozen girls at once and fooling around all the time. He ended up dying from exhaustion in some woman's bed. He's probably a creepy ghost now, unable to be reincarnated. Even though I despise him, we did love each other once. After I went to the clinic with you, I thought of my ex and just burned the red envelope you gave me for him. You don't mind, do you, Maria? After I said this, I had to try hard not to laugh as I watched the color drain from Maria's face. She just stood there, her mouth open, unable to say a word for a long time. Then she turned and ran out of the dorm. That evening, Maria came back to the dorm and came up to me with a fake smile plastered on her face. Chloe, can you tell me your exact date and time of birth? Hearing her ask this, I immediately became suspicious. What do you need that for? Maria giggled. Oh, nothing. We've been roommates for so long and I don't even know your birthday. I can't even get you a proper gift. I raised an eyebrow. I can tell you my birthday, but my exact birth time isn't really necessary, is it? But Maria insisted, leaning in and whispering in my ear like it was a big secret. You don't understand. I know a fortune teller who is incredibly accurate. I've been seeing him for a while. You've been such a good friend to me. I want him to do a reading for you too, to see when you'll finally meet someone special. Ha, a fortune teller? You believe in that stuff? Just then, I got a text message. I glanced at it and immediately put a bright smile on my face. Oh, Maria, I don't really believe in that sort of thing, but since it's your treat, I should thank you. Forget about finding a boyfriend. Ask the master to tell me when I'm going to get rich. With that, I gave Maria my complete birth details. She took out an old-looking piece of yellow paper and wrote it all down, her smile getting even wider. Oh, right, Chloe. There's one more thing I wanted to ask you. I'm not feeling very well today. Can we turn off the lights and go to sleep early? I nodded right away. Of course, I'm tired too and was hoping to get to bed early. Maria and I had a room for two people. There was no one else. Seeing that I agreed, Maria immediately shut off the lights and got into her bed. I lay in my bed pretending to be asleep, but I was secretly watching Maria. The light from her phone was on next to her pillow. After a long time, she quietly got out of her bed. I quickly shut my eyes and began to breathe loudly and deeply. I heard Maria's footsteps come over to my bedside, pause for a moment, and then move away. I slowly cracked my eyes open. Maria was looking through my closet. She pulled out one of my coats and then climbed back into her own bed. I knew in an instant what she was trying to do. Just after 12, the man appeared at our dorm room door as he always did and silently climbed into Maria's bed. But this time, the man quickly got back down from her bed and disappeared without a trace. The next day, Maria woke up early, looking full of energy. She tossed the coat to me. Chloe, I felt a little cold yesterday, so I borrowed your coat. I hope you don't mind. I shook my head. Of course not. But Maria looked at me with a strange, sly smile. So did you dream about your ex-boyfriend yesterday? Wow, I didn't realize you were into such old men. How could you stand it? Ugh, that's so gross. I acted surprised. Old man? What old man? What are you talking about? I have no idea what you mean. Maria smirked. It's fine. You'll find out tonight. With that, she got up and left the dorm. Today was our exam for an elective class. Even though it's rare to fail an elective, this professor was known for being very strict and made us take a closed book test. I looked at the questions. Wow, they were basically all easy points. You could pass just by writing down anything. Seeing this, I felt relieved and started writing as fast as I could. It didn't take me long to finish, and I was ready to turn in my test. But just as I was about to stand up, I heard a disturbance behind me. What are you doing? Take out your phone. I turned around to see the professor standing right next to Maria's desk. Maria's face was bright red, and she was desperately holding her desk drawer shut, refusing to open it. The professor lost his patience, yanked her hand away, and pulled a phone out of the drawer. I made it very clear before the test started. Put your phones on the front podium. Why didn't you turn yours in? Maria stammered, unable to form a sentence. The professor glanced at her test paper, and his voice got louder. Other students have already finished, and your paper is still mostly blank. You're cheating on such an easy test? Have you even been coming to my class? With that, the professor took Maria's phone and her test paper and walked to the front of the room where he drew a heavy line across her paper with his pen. Cheating on the exam. 0 points. Maria begged the professor, but he didn't even look at her. The moment the bell rang, he left the classroom with all the papers. The other students started whispering. What's wrong with Maria? The questions were so simple. Why would she need to cheat? Yeah, elective grades don't even count towards scholarship money. What was the point? Do you think she cheated to get first place all those other times? I bet she's always been a cheater. Someone who cheats on an easy elective getting first place in our major courses? Only an idiot would believe that. Listening to the students' chatter, I held back a smile, packed my bag, and went back to the dorm. This jinx was seriously powerful. Maria had now failed 2 classes in 2 days. Her scholarship for the year was definitely gone. I was relaxing in the dorm playing video games when Maria suddenly kicked the door open and stared at me with fury in her eyes. Chloe Smith, was this your doing? I looked at her with an innocent expression. What did I do? Maria, what are you talking about? Maria screamed at me. Did you do this on purpose? Did you deliberately burn that red envelope for that dead ghost? I blinked my eyes. What are you saying? I don't understand any of this. Maria's mouth twitched, but the words she wanted to say got stuck in her throat. She pointed a finger at me forcefully. If you hadn't burned that envelope, how could I? You're something else, Chloe Smith. Just you wait. You're going to get what's coming to you tonight. With that, Maria ignored me, climbed into her bed, and started playing on her phone. I watched her go and sneered. I'm in for it. The person who's in for it tonight is probably you. It soon got to be 12 o'clock, but I wasn't sleepy at all. I knew Maria wasn't asleep either. It felt like we were both waiting for something to show up. Suddenly, the dorm door opened on its own. A blast of cold wind rushed in, and the temperature in the room dropped instantly. I wrapped myself tighter in my blanket, but couldn't stop shaking. I peeked toward the door, but what I saw almost made me scream. The creepy ghost who had been climbing into Maria's bed for the past few nights appeared at the door, but this time he was dressed in fancy red clothes. Behind him were 4 short paper dolls, 2 on each side carrying a paper wedding carriage. With another gust of cold wind, the ghost slowly floated into the dorm, the paper dolls wobbling behind him. Just as I was wondering what was happening, a sinister voice echoed through the room. "My dearest wife, your husband has arrived to marry you." As soon as the voice spoke, I felt the cold get even more intense. The creepy ghost was actually floating towards me with the paper dolls. I quickly pulled my blanket up over my head and squeezed my eyes shut. My dad had always told me that as long as you don't make eye contact with a ghost, it can't harm you. Honestly, even though I had grown up hearing my dad's strange stories, this was the first time I had ever been so close to something so unnatural. I could feel the coldness getting closer and closer, finally stopping right above my head. A chill soaked into my skin, spreading through my whole body. I felt like I was frozen solid, unable to move a muscle. I clenched my jaw, trying my best to stay conscious. After what felt like a lifetime, a cold, spooky voice boomed in my ear. "My dearest wife, look at me. I am your husband." My eyelids kept fluttering, feeling like they weren't mine to control anymore, about to open on their own. Just as my eyelids were about to lift, the voice spoke again. The scent is wrong. This is the wrong person." The moment the voice faded, I felt an instant wave of relief. My eyes, which I couldn't control just a second ago, were suddenly free. I quickly squeezed them shut again. The coldness gradually moved away from me. I let out a long, silent sigh of relief. There were only 2 of us in the dorm. If it wasn't me, then who could it be? Suddenly, I heard a scream from the direction of Maria's bed. "No, don't come near me. You're Chloe Smith's ex-boyfriend. Go find her. What are you doing coming after me?" The cold voice spoke again. "You are my wife. Who else would I be looking for? See, I even brought wedding gifts." Then, a disgusting, rotten smell filled the air. Toads! Help me! Along with Maria's screams, I suddenly felt an incredible wave of sleepiness wash over me. My head started spinning, and I passed out. The next day was the weekend. When I finally opened my eyes, it was already noon, and Maria still hadn't gotten out of bed. It wasn't until evening that Maria finally sat up wearily in her bed. Her face was a deathly white, completely without life, like a zombie. Maria stared at me with pure hatred. In her current state, she looked just like a female ghost herself. "Chloe Smith, what in the world did you do?" I casually ate my takeout food. "What do you mean, Maria? I haven't understood a single thing you've said for the past few days." Maria struggled to get out of bed, walked over to me, and knocked my food container onto the floor. "Stop acting innocent, Chloe Smith. I set up a ghost marriage for you. Why did that dead ghost come for me instead? I didn't want to fight with her, but she threw my food on the floor. Who could put up with that?" I slammed my hand on the table. "Maria, shouldn't I be the one asking you that question? I was kind enough to go with you to the clinic, and you tried to steal my life force. Do you have any shame at all? I wasn't the one who got you pregnant. So why try to buy my life? If you have the courage, go buy the life force of that boyfriend of yours. Since you're too scared to go after him, I could only find a creepy old ghost for you to have fun with." Maria was shaking with anger, pointing at me, speechless for a long time. You? I grabbed her finger. "Don't point your filthy finger at me. Dead people have no life force left. If you buy a dead person's life, your own life force won't get longer. It will get shorter, but it's not all bad. You added to that old ghost's lifespan and helped lessen his punishment in the underworld. Isn't he going to come and cherish you every single day? Maria, you should be thanking me. I'm helping you earn good karma in the afterlife." Maria fought hard to pull her hand back, but she was incredibly weak now and had no strength. Not only could she not get free, but she also cried out in pain. "Chloe Smith, you let go of me." I twisted her fingers hard. As she yelped, her whole body went limp and fell to the floor. "Pain, pain! Chloe Smith, you monster! What happened yesterday? I clearly arranged a ghost marriage for you. Why did that creepy ghost come after me?" I sneered, let go of her fingers, took the coat she had worn the other night out of my closet, and threw it at her. "Maria, oh, Maria, you really know how to choose. This coat was my birthday gift to you. Happy birthday." Maria's eyes went wide. "What did you just say? A gift for me?" I smirked. "Yeah, didn't you see it that day? There was a birthday card inside the coat pocket, too." Saying that, I pulled a card from the coat pocket. It read, "Happy birthday to my classmate Maria," and it was signed with Maria's exact date and time of birth. Maria looked at me completely stunned. You, you, how did you know my date and time of birth?" I smiled faintly. "It was written on your red envelope in red ink, in the bottom right corner. Did you forget?" Maria finally understood. She glared at me. "Chloe Smith, you planned this from the start, didn't you? You left only this one coat in your closet. You did it on purpose to trap me." I sneered. "Lady, let's be very clear about who is trapping whom. You were the one who wanted to trap me in a ghost marriage with that creepy old ghost. It just so happens that you took the coat I gave you as a gift and ended up in the ghost marriage yourself. This is what you call karma. What does it have to do with me?" Maria stared at me furiously. "Wasn't he your ex-boyfriend? I was just helping you finish your love story. What's wrong with that?" I burst out laughing. "Ex-boyfriend. Please, I've been single my entire life. Where would I even get an ex-boyfriend? Do you really think I would be interested in that old creep? That was just some random nasty ghost I found in the cemetery." Maria's mouth twitched and she collapsed onto the floor, speechless for a long time. I sneered. "You have time to sit here and argue with me, but you should probably be thinking about your own situation first. A creepy ghost plus a jinx. Wow, Maria, you have a lot to look forward to." My words seemed to snap Maria back to reality. She glared at me, struggled to her feet, and spat out, "Just you wait," before turning and leaving the dorm. That night, Maria didn't come back. The next morning, I called my dad and told him everything that had happened. My dad told me to burn the protective charm he had given me to keep evil away. Even though the ghost wasn't after me, being around that kind of energy would still affect my health. I burned the charm just as my dad said, but right as I finished, the dorm door was suddenly pushed open and Maria walked in with our academic advisor. Maria pointed at me and said to the advisor, "Professor, Chloe Smith is performing superstitious rituals in the dorm room." The advisor frowned and walked over to me. "Chloe Smith, what are you doing?" I didn't expect Maria to stoop this low. I frowned and said calmly, "Professor, I was just burning a piece of paper for fun." Before the advisor could reply, Maria shrieked, "Burning paper for fun? You were burning a magic charm, weren't you? Chloe Smith, I knew there was something strange about you. Professor, Chloe has been talking to me about things like buying lives and ghost marriages for days. I think she's involved in some kind of superstitious scam." Hearing Maria say this, the advisor's face darkened. "Chloe Smith, what is this about you telling Maria these things?" My mind raced, and I said to the advisor, "Professor, I was just telling Maria some spooky stories. Burning the paper in the dorm was my mistake. I won't do it again. I'm sorry, Professor." The advisor clearly didn't buy my weak excuse. His tone was harsh. "Telling stories? How old are you?" "Chloe Smith, what exactly are you up to?" Maria chimed in smugly from the side. "Professor, don't listen to her lies. She's been going on about creepy old ghosts and jinxes. It's definitely not just storytelling. Besides, why would you burn a charm while telling a story? Professor, Chloe Smith's father is a scam artist who tells fortunes. She must have learned it from him and is trying to cheat classmates out of their money. She even scammed a red envelope from me before." Hearing Maria's accusations, the advisor's expression got even worse. Looking at Maria's smug face, I couldn't help but find it funny. This girl would really do anything to ruin me. Since you want to play dirty, don't blame me for fighting back. I pretended to be panicked. Professor, I didn't scam anyone. Since we're at this point, I'll tell you the truth. Yes, my dad is a spiritual advisor. He taught me some ways to get rid of evil spirits. I was burning the paper today to help Maria get rid of an evil spirit. When I said this, Maria's expression changed in an instant. Get rid of an evil spirit for me? What's wrong with me that I would need your help? I smiled mysteriously. You were screaming strangely in the middle of the night yesterday. It's obvious you were possessed by a ghost. I'm not lying, Professor. If you don't believe me, you can ask the students who live nearby. It was so loud yesterday, they definitely heard it. A crowd of students had already gathered outside our door to see what was happening. Hearing me, the advisor turned and looked at the crowd, his eyes landing on Sarah from the room next door. Sarah, tell me, what did you hear last night? Sarah, being put on the spot, hesitated and stammered for a moment. Professor, the advisor glared. Tell the truth. Did you hear any strange noises last night? Sarah bit her lip, her face turning red, and after a long pause, she finally nodded. Professor, I did hear Maria scream yesterday. Maria's eyes widened. What are you talking about? When did I scream? Before Sarah could reply, several other students spoke up. I heard it too. I thought you two were watching a scary movie. The screams were awful. Yes. I had just fallen asleep and it scared me awake. I heard it too. It was so frightening. Is Maria really possessed by a ghost? Maria's face flushed red and she stammered, What ghost possession? I was having a nightmare. Then she turned her attack back to me. Chloe Smith, you scammed a red envelope from me before, saying it was some stupid life-buying money. I know your family doesn't have a lot of money. If you can't afford food, just tell me and I'll buy you a meal. But you can't use superstitious scams to trick people. Professor, I recommend we expel this scammer, Chloe Smith, so she doesn't go on to hurt other students. Hearing this, the advisor's attention turned back to me. I smirked. Maria, since you've said all this, I'm not going to protect you anymore. Professor, Maria did give me a red envelope, but it wasn't for buying a life. It was hush money. Hush money? The advisor looked at me, confused. I smiled faintly. Yes, Maria got pregnant by accident and she couldn't reach her boyfriend. She was too scared to tell her family, so she begged me to go with her to get an abortion and gave me a red envelope as hush money to keep quiet. Maria, I really can't believe you would say these things about me. In that case, there's no reason for me to hide the truth anymore. As soon as I finished, the students around us burst into discussion. I looked at Maria's bright red face and continued. For the past few days, Maria has been tormented by the spirit of the child she aborted. That's why she's been having such terrible luck. Maria, whether you believe in superstitions or not, I was being kind by trying to help you get rid of the evil spirit, and you turned on me. That's not a very nice thing to do. Hearing me say this, the students' chatter grew louder. Wow, Maria always seems like such a good girl. She actually got pregnant. No wonder she got caught cheating on the exam. She was being haunted by a little ghost. She deserves it. The baby in her belly was a life too. How could she just get rid of it like that? Wow, I really didn't think the top student would do something like that. Maria's eyes looked like they were about to pop out of her head. Her stare was filled with fire. She pointed at me, stammering for a long time, and then suddenly lunged at me. Chloe Smith, you liar. You're ruining my reputation. I'm going to kill you. Several students nearby quickly grabbed Maria. I stood my ground and said calmly, Whether I'm ruining your reputation or not, we can find out by checking your medical records. Mariah, you have no shame, and you still expect me to protect you? Keep dreaming. The advisor, seeing the situation getting out of control, shouted sternly, That's enough. You two, bring your parents here tomorrow. We need to have a serious talk. What is all of this? With that, he told the other students to leave and then left himself. Maria followed behind the advisor, glaring fiercely at me. Chloe Smith, just you wait. Wait? I will. After Maria left, I calmly took out my phone and called my dad. Dad, our advisor wants to see our parents. Can you come to the school tomorrow? The next day, my dad arrived at the school gate early. I walked with him to the advisor's office. Maria was already there waiting. Seeing us come in, Maria looked my dad up and down with a sneer. Chloe Smith, your scam artist dad doesn't seem to have scammed much money, huh? He's dressed like such a country hick. I looked at the old coat my dad was wearing and said to him, feeling a little helpless, Dad, you could have worn something nicer. You make so much money, why do you live so simply? My dad just grinned at me. Oh, I'm just used to these clothes. As long as my daughter is living well, that's all that matters. Professor, what did Chloe do wrong? Why call her parents here all of a sudden? Chloe has never been called to the principal's office in her life. Before the advisor could say anything, Maria spoke up arrogantly. Your daughter is practicing black magic and hurting people at school. She's about to be expelled. Ha! Like father, like son. A big scammer raises a little scammer. Today we're taking you both down. Hearing Maria's words, I completely lost my temper. She could insult me, but how dare she insult my dad? I walked right up to her and slapped her hard across the face. Maria, watch your mouth. Who are you calling a scammer? For years, it's always been people coming to my dad for help. My dad has never gone looking for business. Don't think you can do whatever you want just because your dad donated some buildings to the school. A piece of trash like you who cheats on exams has no right to judge me. I'm telling you, if you dare call my dad a scammer one more time, I will tear your mouth off. I had been taking self-defense classes since I started university, so that slap was not light. It left Maria stunned for a good while. The advisor was also shocked by what I did and quickly yelled, Chloe Smith, what are you doing? Hitting someone right in front of a professor? That's going too far. I turned and glared at the advisor. Professor, if someone insulted your parents like that, would you hit them or not? The advisor was caught off guard by my question, and when he spoke again, his voice was much weaker. Even so, you can't hit someone in front of a professor. All right, let's talk about you performing superstitious rituals today. Maria's father was a famous, wealthy businessman in the city and had donated a lot of money to the university. Maria clearly felt safe asking the advisor for help because she was relying on her father's influence. I rolled my eyes. It was agreed that both parents would come. My dad is here. Where's hers? Maria was still in a daze. The advisor spoke for her. Mr. Lopez is busy with work, unlike some people who have nothing to do. He'll be here shortly. Let's discuss your problem first. What exactly were you doing burning that paper in your dorm yesterday? I pouted. Professor, let's just wait until Maria's father gets here. By this point, Maria had also snapped out of it. Her face was bright red as she pointed at me and cursed, Chloe Smith, you monster. How dare you hit me? I have never been hit in my entire life. Fine, just you wait. When my dad gets here, we'll see how he deals with you. I glared at Maria and she immediately shrank back in fear. My dad, seeing how tense things were, tried to calm everyone down. Oh, Chloe, what are you doing? How can you bully your classmate like that? Professor, this is my fault. I shouldn't have told Chloe all those silly stories. I was just telling her stories for fun. I didn't think she would take them so seriously. Professor, just let it go. Don't worry about it. And young lady, are you okay? It was Chloe's fault for bullying you. I'll definitely punish her when we get home and see if she ever dares to hit you again. My dad's words only made Maria angrier. She bullied me? The great Maria Lopez bullied by this country girl? You really think highly of yourselves. Fine, I'm calling the police right now and having both of you arrested. Chloe Smith, this one slap is enough to send you to jail. If you don't get on your knees and apologize to me today, I will absolutely not let this go. Saying that, Maria took out her phone to call the police. Suddenly, a man's voice came from the doorway. Mariah, what is going on? After seeing who it was, the advisor quickly ran over to greet him. Mr. Lopez, you're here. It's nothing serious, just some students messing around. I could have handled it myself, but Mariah insisted that you come and get justice for her. I'm sorry to take up your valuable time. Maria immediately rushed over to Mr. Lopez as if she had just seen her savior. Dad, this witch is practicing black magic in the dorm and she even dared to hit me. Boo-hoo-hoo. Mr. Lopez looked at me fiercely, then his eyes fell on my dad. Suddenly, his expression changed completely and he looked at my dad in total shock. Maria didn't notice her father's reaction and was still complaining. And Chloe Smith's dad, he's just a country hick who scams people. I'm going to call the police and have them both arrested. Suddenly, Mr. Lopez pushed Maria away forcefully and yelled at her. Call the police! What police are you calling? You might as well call the police to arrest your own father. This sudden change left Maria completely confused. The advisor was also speechless. Maria's father, Mr. Lopez, quickly walked over to my dad, a huge smile on his face as he held out his hand. Oh, Master Chen! I truly didn't expect to see you here. My daughter is young and foolish and said some things she shouldn't have. Please, don't take it personally. My dad chuckled and shook Mr. Lopez's hand. Mr. Lopez, you're being too kind. So, this is your daughter? After all this, it turns out we're all connected. It's not good for things to get this heated. Let's settle whatever this is privately and not bother the professor, all right? Hearing my dad, Mr. Lopez nodded his head over and over again and then said to the advisor, Professor, today's whole incident is Maria's fault. Just pretend nothing happened. We can talk about everything else in private. With that, he patted Maria's shoulder. Maria, apologize to your Uncle Chen right now. Tears were streaming down Maria's face as she looked at her dad in disbelief. Seeing that she wasn't moving, Mr. Lopez patted her again, this time much harder. Did you not hear me? Hurry up and apologize to Uncle Chen. Maria swallowed hard, clenched her teeth, and said to my dad, Uncle Chen, I'm sorry. My dad still looked at her with a smile. Oh, Mr. Lopez, what are you doing? This is mostly just a misunderstanding between two kids. Why apologize to me? It's not necessary at all. Mr. Lopez paused, then gently patted Maria. Yes, quickly. Apologize to your classmate. Maria clenched her jaw, and after a long moment, she squeezed out the words from between her teeth. I'm sorry. I rolled my eyes at her. I can't accept your apology. Didn't you just say you were going to call the police and have me arrested? And that you wouldn't let me go if I didn't kneel and apologize to you? Mr. Lopez froze again, his face turning dark as he gritted his teeth and said to Maria, Kneel down and apologize to your classmate. Hearing Mr. Lopez, my dad quickly stopped him. All right, Mr. Lopez, what is all this? We're all one big family here. Why make things so dramatic? It's just a simple misunderstanding between children. Once it's all cleared up, they'll still be good classmates, right? Mr. Lopez glared at Maria. Hurry up and thank Uncle Chen. Maria lowered her head and mumbled, Thank you, Uncle Chen. Hearing this, Mr. Lopez finally let out a sigh of relief and said to my dad, Master Chen, I've reserved a private room at the Grandview restaurant for lunch. Would you do me the honor of joining me? This was our fault from the beginning. Please consider it my apology to you and your daughter. Only after having lunch with Mr. Lopez did I understand the full story. It turned out that Mr. Lopez's company had recently run into some supernatural problems. My dad is a very respected spiritual master in his field, a special guest for many powerful business leaders. Mr. Lopez had only managed to get a meeting with my dad after going through many connections and was just about to ask my dad for help with the issues his company was facing. And earlier, when Maria was looking for a way to arrange a ghost marriage, she had found one of my dad's students. That student happened to know that Maria was my roommate, so he sent me a text message to warn me. That's how I was able to turn the situation around and arrange for Maria to be in the ghost marriage instead. After Maria was trapped in the ghost marriage, she asked her dad for help, and her dad, in turn, went to my dad for help, which is how the problem was solved for her. However, Maria never knew it was my dad who had helped her, which is why she was so arrogant and tried to destroy me. Maria had just had an abortion, had her life force drained by the creepy old ghost, and was also trapped in a ghost marriage. Her health was terrible, and she was groggy and exhausted every day. Final exams were right around the corner. I was studying in the library when I suddenly got a text message. It was from my dad's student. After I read what it said, I burst out laughing. I never would have thought that this incredible luck would finally be mine. I quickly called my dad. When I got back to the dorm that night, Mariah, for once, had a smile on her face and brought me a cup of bubble tea. Chloe, I was wrong about everything that happened before. I've been through so much already. Please, can you forgive me? I smiled back at her. Maria, I'm so glad you can say that. Your dad and my dad are friends, and we're roommates. Why did we have to make things so ugly? Saying that, I reached out and took the bubble tea from her and took a sip. Why is this bubble tea a little bitter? A strange look flashed across Maria's face. Oh, you said you were trying to lose weight before, so I ordered it with half the sugar. I smiled and nodded, then said to her, Hey Maria, why don't you go ask my dad for a spiritual reading? I see you've been having such bad luck lately. Maybe your destiny isn't very good. Let my dad find a way to change your fate. Your dad and my dad are so close, he won't even charge you. Maria's eyes darted away from mine. Ah, well, forget it. I'll figure something out on my own. Chloe, you should finish your bubble tea quickly. I waited in a long line to buy this for you. Okay. I drank the entire bubble tea right in front of Maria. As I got to the bottom of the cup, the smile on Maria's face grew wider and wider. That night, I was sleeping deeply when I suddenly smelled something burning. I opened my eyes just a crack and saw Maria kneeling in the middle of our room, her hands pressed together, mumbling something while a piece of magic paper burned on the floor. A small smile appeared on my face. I turned over and went back to sleep. Unexpectedly, the next morning, I felt weak all over and couldn't even get out of bed. I said weakly to Maria, Maria, I feel so sick. I think I'm coming down with something. Today's class is a big lecture, so I'm not going. If the professor checks attendance, can you answer for me? Maria, however, had shed her usual exhaustion. She walked over to me, full of energy, and said with a grin, Sure, don't worry about a thing. Just get some rest. Watching Maria walk out of the dorm full of life, I quickly got up, took out the special charm my dad had left for me, burned it into ashes, sprinkled it into a cup of water, tilted my head back and drank it all down. A raw, metallic taste went down my throat and into my stomach. But in just a few moments, that feeling of weakness completely vanished. I felt like I had been brought back to life. I grabbed my textbook, walked to the classroom, and sat in the very back row. The professor didn't check attendance for the entire class. Just as the class was about to end, Maria suddenly raised her hand. Professor, Chloe Smith doesn't seem to be here today. Maybe you should check attendance. The professor looked at her with a confused expression and was about to start calling names when I stood up. Professor, I'm here, right here. Watching me wave energetically at the professor, Maria's jaw nearly hit the floor. The professor glared angrily at Maria, wrote down her name, and left the classroom. When I got back that night, Maria looked at me in disbelief. How did you go to class? I rolled my eyes at her. Why couldn't I go to class? You, on the other hand, said you would cover for me, but then tried to get me in trouble. Maria, oh Maria, aren't you just pathetic? Maria glared at me furiously, grabbed her suitcase, and spat out, I'm not staying in this dorm anymore, before leaving. Soon, it was time for final exams. I originally felt like I wasn't completely ready and was a little nervous, but to my surprise, the exam questions were all on topics I had reviewed. I was instantly filled with joy and wrote as fast as I could, finishing all the questions. I glanced over at Maria. Her face was red, she was sweating, and she was looking around the room helplessly. The 2 days of exams were over quickly. I felt very confident. It looked like I might even get first place this time and maybe even win a scholarship. The results came out soon. As I expected, I surprisingly got first place in our year, while Maria failed 2 more classes. However, the bad news for her didn't stop there. While I was in the dorm packing my things to go home for the break, Maria suddenly burst in, crying, with her phone in her hand. Dad, how could this happen? Didn't Master Chen already solve the problem for you? How could... The phone slipped from Maria's hand and fell to the floor. She also collapsed to the ground. I whistled, ignoring Maria on the floor, and answered my dad's call. Hey, Dad, what's up? The company you invested in just went public? Congratulations, CEO Chen. Doesn't that make me a rich kid now? See, Dad, you just needed a little push. When I get home, I want to drive a sports car. Ha 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 ha. Before I could hang up, Maria suddenly jumped on me and knocked me to the floor. Chloe Smith, why? Why did my dad go bankrupt while your dad became a big shot CEO? Why? I looked at Maria's twisted, angry face, sneered, and with a quick move, threw her off me. Why? You should ask yourself that. Don't you know what you did to me the other day? Maria's eyes widened as she looked at me. What? What did I do? I sneered. You swapped our fates, remember? Maria looked at me, shocked. How? How would you know that? Looking at her clueless expression, I found it almost hilarious. My dad is a spiritual master. The bubble tea you gave me? I knew the second I tasted it that it had charm ashes in it. Wow, Maria, you're capable of something as evil as swapping fates. You're really something. Maria's mouth twitched and she roared at me. Yes, I did swap fates with you. So what? Why have I been so unlucky lately? Why was I haunted by a creepy ghost? Why did I get caught cheating? Chloe Smith, no matter how skilled your dad is, he's still just a country bumpkin. The unlucky one should be you, not me. I just can't stand your fake goody two-shoes act. I wanted to transfer all this bad luck to you, so what? I burst out laughing. My friend, thank you so much. Your bad luck was only because you were being followed by that jinx. Did you really not know? You have the luck of a once-in-a-century golden child. Why do you think your dad's business was so successful so easily? Why do you think you got first place in your exams without trying? Why do you think you got scholarships every single year? Because you are a golden child. But I really didn't expect you to actually swap your golden child luck with me. Ha ha ha, little girl, it seems like this kind of powerful luck is too much for you to handle. Maria was completely stunned. How is this possible? How is this possible? I sneered. Maria, even though you have golden child luck, your heart is not good. Even with that kind of luck, you can't handle such a powerful destiny, and sooner or later, you would have suffered from it. Swapping fates with me was probably the only right thing you ever did. With that, I burst out laughing again and threw the suitcase from my bed directly into the trash can. My dad's a rich CEO now, so I should start acting a bit more extravagant, right? Time for a new set of everything. Thinking this, I turned my head and looked at Maria, who was still dazed on the floor. Hey, I have a question for you. How do you be a good rich kid? I just became one, so I don't have much experience. I still need to learn from you, the former rich kid. By the way, I can also teach you some ways to save money. Hey, Maria, don't fall asleep. Say something. Hey.